We do have some new warning signs flashing this week in the markets. First of all, stocks are on pace for the worst month as we wrap up this month of May since back in December of last year. But the warning signs are really coming from the bond market and the inverted yield curve that's been all over the headlines and the recession fears that go along with it. You get more money parking your money with the federal government for 3 months and 10 years, which is not normal. Kingsview Asset Management CIO Scott Martin joins us right now with a little bit more on what this means. I was talking really slow to see if you would say it rather than forcing me to, but yeah, that was a good. I knew it was on your mind. There you go. Transition. Is it so one of the things I saw was interesting this morning is that we've had this conversation now for a while. I think we had it probably back last time, a few months ago when this happened. Axios wrote up a piece and they basically said every time this happens, or recently, like 2006, I believe 2000, you get all the experts, guys like you, the people come on and they say, this time is different. It's not a big deal, you know. And then a year later, a year and a half later, sure enough, you have a recession. So is this time different?
Well, and I was actually going to say something similar, so I'm trying to change it on the fly. And this time is the same, Connell, but it's the same for the different reasons. Let me put it that way, in the sense that it does show that there's that risk appetite that is drying up, as you mentioned, outside, say, 3 months, where there's more concern, let's say, over growth, over inflation. Here's another thing that's similar, though, to what happened before. Yields are dropping everywhere, my friend. I mean, it's not just the U.S. I mean, you look at Australia, you look at Germany, emerging markets. I mean, yields are really falling all over the globe. So it's concerning not only in the U.S., but also globally about how kind of maybe risk-off this appetite is turning into outside of 3 months.
Hey, I have a headline that just came in. It actually plays right into our conversation, so I'll ask you to react to it because it's about rates. Richard Clarida, who's a Federal Reserve Vice Chairman, has just said there's no need to cut rates, no need for rate cuts unless the economy weakens more from here. I think we've seen stocks come back a bit. We're up 70 on the Dow. But what's your answer? What do you make of that? And are we headed for a rate cut, or maybe we just stand pat for a while?
I think we're going to stand pat for a little while. I mean, maybe 6 months. But I tell you, the market, the Fed funds futures market, which does end up being a good predictor of Fed moves in the future, is saying the opposite. Is saying that the Fed needs to cut, several times by the end of 2020. I do agree, though. I mean, we're economic data guys and gals at our shop, and so we do look at economic data. And the data, Connell, at 200,000 or so jobs added per month, wage growth that's accelerating, as well as GDP that is over 3%. Maybe not as high in the second quarter here, but still GDP that's positive, probably does not necessitate a rate cut until maybe later this year.
Weakening from here based on, the outlook that's changed, say, on the trade war front or something else?
Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously influenced rates as well, because as we've seen these trade talks cool off, certainly even with USMCA, as you guys have been talking about, which is actually coming maybe to the table now, but still, that's been delayed. We've seen that push rates down, too, which further kind of makes concerns about future growth prospects.
All right, good to see you as always, Scott. This time is different, or maybe not. I think it's what you said, something along those lines.
It's still the same old, man. Between you and me, it is. See ya.
Thank you, sir. Scott Martin. Hey, Uber...